Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the new episode of the French Bishop podcast. Today I am joined by Master Chess Dojo, otherwise known as John MacArthur, our wonderful national master and chess coach from New York. I am Rogan Joe Sloan, and today we're going to be talking about, all the wonderful chess news that has happened. And if it's a slow enough news day, we'll talk about some other stuff that we find interesting. Hello, John. How are we going?
How you doing, Rogan? Yeah, no, it's good. It's great to be back. Although our time is short, at least we're going to try to make it more regular check-in. That way we can stay abreast. In fact, since we just did the podcast last week, we have only a few items, I guess, to talk about. The most notable today, I think, and probably the biggest news item of the day. I don't know that we need to lead off with it, but Fabiano Caruana is now back over 2,800. And he climbed over our favorite doormat, the world's favorite doormat. Not Ariantari.
No, not Ariantari. And
Ari is the world's most loved
doormat. Yeah.
Doormat.
Well, at least Norway's doormat. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's a pretty good chess player in his own right. But you know, he's gonna have to catch Magnus Nappen to get number one in Norway.
And he's a much nicer guy than Magnus in general.
Wow,
which already seals his fate.
I mean, if I was the world chess champion, I'd be a complete
dick. Well, that's right. You have to have that, a little bit of a reflection on our previous podcast. You have to have that elite dickishness to get to the top of world chess.
Yeah,
and it doesn't hurt, but for how you might be interpreted amongst others. But we have the World Senior going on. There are several things going on with the World Senior, and the FIDE Grand Swiss in Isle of Man just kicked off. I don't know that the FIDE Grand Swiss isn't open to everyone, except for the elite event, of course, is the one that is determining or helping to determine qualifiers toward the World Championship.
I mean, very, very important in the chess world, of course. I mean, if you say so, John, it is so. Your word is law. Okay, so Fabiano Caruana continues his imperious form with a round 2 win over chess bad boy Hans Niemann. Well, at least he got some reputation out of his accusations. The impressive victory saw him cross the 2,800 ELO barrier again on the live ratings, making him the only player other than Magnus Carlsen above the incredible barrier, which is, it's very, very good. This obviously, sets him up with some seriously good form for, maybe next year's, next Chess World Cup, or Chess Championship, or however you want to put it.
Yes, indeed. There were several stories that since Fabiano Caruana is already seeded into the World Championship, everyone, including Gukesh, are feverishly trying to climb the standings in the FIDE Grand Prix to grab a spot in the World Championship cycle candidates matches, or candidates tournament, I should say. I miss the old candidates matches from the old days. I really do. Those were quite gripping. In my day, when I was first starting out in chess, I more or less lived for seeing players playing best of 10, and then best of 12 in the last one. I think Fischer and Petrosian was the last hurdle to challenging Spassky, and Fischer won the first two with 6 points. And no losses and no draws, winning the round of 8 and round of 4 to get to the semifinals, and then beating Petrosian. Pretty incredible those days.
Caruana was actually obligated to attend this one. Sorry about that. I interrupted you.
Like he could get out of it.
Yeah, he was contractually
a nice paycheck
obligated.
The way he's going. Huge paycheck the way he's going.
Yeah, hey, every chess player should get a good every top level chess players should probably get a good paycheck. I mean, it's probably harder than getting a master's degree, I'd say. Being that good at chess, definitely. It's
He
you're
had a
putting years and years of study and work into it. I mean, it's good that chess is getting bigger purses and stuff like that.
yeah he had a tough round in the first round. He played Ivan Saric, who's a very strong or relatively strong grandmaster, and then to meet Hans Niemann in the second round. I believe that Fabiano had said they had played 3 times before this, and that Fabiano was uh, white in every game until now. I could have the colors backwards. That would be terrible, of course. But if my memory serves me correctly, this is the first time that Fabiano has been white against Hans. And when I looked, the position, or at least the material, was all even. But the coordination of Fabiano's pieces brought about soon like a +3 advantage in no time at all. And I felt for Hans because he just could not keep up the pace. Um, it's he's been a regular customer. I think it's 0-4 for Hans Niemann in classical chess against Fabiano. It's not a good
Yeah.
sign.
Mate, so the other people of note in this tournament was Hikaru Nakamura, and he started off with 2 draws and 2 narrow escapes, while Alireza Fairuza began his campaign with 1 and a half out of 2. Yeah, so these 2 people are the main ones going for the Elo based spot at the candidates tournament.
Yeah,
So
Maxime
yeah,
Vachier-Lagrave is playing as well. I know that he had a little bit of a round one scare against Benjamin Gladura. Jakob Agard on Twitter had posted, what white to move and seize the advantage, which I don't think Benjamin Gladura played, unfortunately, as it turns out. So what can you do? As it's very sad that he didn't.
yeah,
Just
I
checking the
feel
stats
that pain. I
to make
feel
sure
that
that
pain a
make
little
sure
bit.
that I get the right. I'm on the right page with that one.
Yeah. And other news, in other news, we can always circle back to the first article. There's a major chess tournament being held in the Isle of Man by organizer, well, Alan Ormsby. The prize money is actually quite substantial at £495,000, which is 600,000, I believe, in United States dollars. So it would be yeah. So the Isle of Man is, I think, trying to have this one under their own flag, and not under the British flag this time around.
Right.
So this massive amount of prize money is financed by the Scheinberg family, which, if that doesn't sound rich, nothing does. Yeah,
Yeah. Sounds like a touch of nobility thrown in there.
yeah, I know, right? It's like that sounds
When I
like, so
was
that's sorry, go
when
right
I was
ahead.
reading about that, I couldn't quite separate that from the FIDE Grand Swiss, who Alan Ormsby also kicked off the opening ceremony of the FIDE Grand Swiss because he's the chief organizer.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I'm trying to check it out, the other tournament for the most part, which is very, very cool.
yeah. So it's one of
Fabiano
these
chose
really big
black.
tournaments of the year where, like in the main ones of the year, it's like, or well, yeah.
It's incredible. We
I
have
mean, it's
we
like
have
Gibraltar and the other ones, Isle of Man, Linda's Abbey, all the big ones, or the ones that you would have heard of. This is one of the main ones.
indeed,
Anyway,
indeed. In fact, it takes a little bit of the socks off of the World Senior, because I know that a lot of these players, like Pia Cramling, might be playing in the senior event if she weren't at the Isle of Man.
yeah,
And I wonder
trying
if
to
that
go.
also means that Anna Cramling could be at the Isle of Man event.
You know,
I haven't seen it.
I mean, you got to do the one with the paycheck, yeah. Chess players aren't
That's
known to
right.
be rich. Yeah, I mean, ain't that the
Let's
truth?
see. I need to see this page in English. That's what I need. There we go.
Yeah, that's
So
quite
on the
handy.
whole, yeah, right.
Yeah, I've always said English is my favorite language to read in.
So tomorrow, Fabiano Caruana on board one faces Erwin Lamy. He's just working his way up the charts, and there are only 7 players with a perfect score of 2 out of 2, which include, which includes, of course, Arjun Argaizi, and a player that had beaten Magnus Carlsen previously, Andrei Esipenko, which is quite impressive. Sam Shankland and a huge group of relatively well-known players, including Aryan Tarrier at 1.5. So we'll see how well they do.
I mean, it sounds like a good event to cover in the future. Do we have any other chess stories today? I'm not actually 100% sure if we had another chess story or not. I
Well, I'm
mean,
happy to say that I'll just mention in passing that Chess Based News Online had a nice article on or
shit.
interview with Stuart Rubin, who has been a really notable organizer of British events and top level events in Britain for decades. And Stuart Rubin, just in his modest claim to fame, said he was able to play Bobby Fischer in his lifetime, which is a pretty cool feat, I have to admit. Since I'm hoping to put myself in the presence of Bobby Fischer for the first time in my lifetime, but I guess not his, this weekend as I'm off to Iceland. I'm not planning on doing it to my student to say that I'm delayed.
Okay, so quick update.
Did it save the
Internet went out,
previous
stopped
one?
recording for me. That's a failure, and that's a website failure right there, and stuff like that.
Because I
So,
still have the
unfortunately,
page up where I'm willing to make the
it
investment
probably did.
into
I mean, if it didn't, I'd be very, very
any service.
disappointed.
I'm willing
But
to make the
we,
investment into any
we're back.
service uh, that would like make your life that much, even that much more easy than the free podcastle. Nah, I would never blame you, Rogan. I blame the
I
software every
suspect
single
human
time. As a
error.
former
I
IT
suspect
person,
human
I
error in
blame the
this one, and
software
I know
every
it's human
single
error
time.
because
If it were a
thank
lesser
you.
person, I would blame operator error. I remember when we had to get Margaret, we threatened her every week with a
Ah,
keyboard condom because she'd be eating muffins over her keyboard, and we'd have to order a new keyboard with it for her about once a month. And every time we had to order a new keyboard for her desk, we threatened her with the keyboard condom, the rubber that goes over the
all
keyboard
right.
to prevent her from feeding the keyboard muffin. No, these
I
muffins were
mean,
really good.
I would just, I'd probably give
they,
her a can of compressed air at some point. Here,
they
use
were. They were
this.
not like
You know,
scones. I think if she were eating
these
scones, and
were
she's from
heavy
Ireland,
duty
and she's a
muffins,
real
were they?
Irish person, if she were
They were
actually
some,
eating
some
scones, I
real
think you
double
could
chocolate chip.
blow them out because it would have been a smidgen drier than than the local bakery's soft, sticky muffins. Oh man,
Right. So she was eating Southern soul food
not good for
over the
keyboards.
keyboard.
No, no. I mean, we
Real dense,
attempted
real
to
damp, and real
in
yummy,
those
but not
days
good for
you could
keyboards.
attempt to resuscitate the keyboard, but unfortunately, it was often I'm going to say 820.
I mean, I think this will still be a good podcast, despite the fact that our No, I mean, I think we got some of the main points, and I mean, I'm not actually sure if we
It
did
was
or
a
not,
slow news
but
week,
it's okay.
indeed.
I'm honestly sure
Do we
it'll
want
be
to
fine,
record
John. It was a slow
the
news
bit
week,
on
that's our excuse. Yeah, you
the
know.
finish of the Qatar Masters or anything like that?
Yes.
Or do we want to do it next time? I tell you, the
Yeah, sure.
weekendpress.com
We could
saved
quickly
my
give the quickest
tuchus.
rundown of
We also didn't
of
cover
the
the Speed
results
Chess
based theme that we
Championship
were
that
talking about,
chess.com held
but
the past week. Yes, you are.
yeah, I mean, it's chess.com. I'm only so loyal to them.
Indeed.
Yeah. Danny Wrench
No,
is a
I
good
think
doggy.
we're going
Woof
to
woof.
definitely take advantage of the weekendchess.com.
Sorry, Danny. There we go. Hang on. Ooh,
Is it?
hang on. Oh, this is gonna be a bitch to edit. Probably.
Because you want to take yourself out or what?
There's a lot of me in here. Um.
So I'm going to propose once
Okay.
again that we start this podcast
Some
at the
of it.
very
Some of
beginning
it.
with all
Yeah.
the stories of our
I
everyday
mean,
travails as we ease into it. And I will canvass for the news stories before we start the podcast, and we'll have everything set from now on. And we'll just go right into it the way we normally do.
sounds good.
It's been around for decades. It was around
Right.
before the
Weekend shit.
it was
Okay,
around before
that's
the internet
pretty good. I didn't. Oh,
was was so
it
friendly,
looks like it.
and it was just literally this news page. Literally,
Yeah,
every
back
Monday
when they had
evening,
smoke signals.
Mark Crowther's The Week in
Yeah, the
Chess
Pony
was the
Express.
#1 way to get your chess
Yeah.
news, and you could download the games in a PGN from individual events and add them, and you could often catch events that are not always caught by other news services. So, for the most part, other events today, like the Annemasse Open and Annemasse France and the
Yep.
Budapest Autumn IM event and the GM events, and not just the World Senior. But I see that the Chigorin Memorial is kicking off in St. Petersburg as well. And I'm happy to say that the.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is it on right now?
Yeah. The Rugby World Cup is on too.
This
Not that it's
Saturday, and I'll be
of
able to
any
watch it on almost
business
a
of
normal
chess,
time
but
zone too.
the
Maybe.
Rugby World Cup final is this Saturday. No, not right
Maybe.
now.
I'll be
No,
4
I wouldn't
hours
be here
ahead.
if it was.
Oh, my wife
Maybe.
would kill me. I wonder
I mean,
if we could
South
find a
Africa
pub to
versus New
watch that
Zealand, and we're going to win it.
in Iceland.
It's it's. I've got a link for you if you want.
Oh, I have more than enough reliable
Oh,
internet.
right.
I'll be
I've got an internet
in
link that
Iceland,
should
so I
give you a
don't know
good
what my
stream of
internet
it
will
if
be
you've got
like,
reliable
obviously.
internet.
The last link, by the way, that No Words sent me, I had perhaps clicked on a random ad or two that contained spyware, and my internet browser shut down his link faster than I could even open it on several occasions. It was quite crazy. But I am somewhat
All
rooting for a
right.
very good game when the United States is not involved.
Okay, that
I
sounds.
hope for the best game possible, and that the winner will be a deserved winner, and it won't just be lost. Because many championships are often lost by one person. One person plays the best possible game, and the other person just jettisons. Not unlike the signature moves of Jan Nepomniachtchi. If there's a man that is capable of proving what a bridesmaid he deserves to be, I feel for him. I do, because I like the guy. I do
Throwing a
like the
game.
guy. He's a nice enough guy, and he doesn't deserve what has happened to him to a certain extent. He is the
Oh, yeah.
bridesmaids to Hans Niemann's bad boy.
Oh well, you know, you can only throw so much. I'm sure he'll have his day in the sun. I'm sure he will. It's it's gonna be great to see who will end up
I
challenging
almost
Dean
guarantee
Loren.
that it's going to
Will
be
it be
Fabiano. Absolutely,
will it
almost
be Ian,
guarantee that
or
it's
will
going to
it
be
be
Fabiano.
Fabi, or will it be
The way he's
another?
playing with such solidity and such confidence, he's literally on top of his game, and he's I think, just now hit his stride in his prime. Um, I'm very proud of him in all counts. I think someone the other day didn't realize that I've known Fabiano since he was like 8 years old or less. Uh, Way back in the
Oh,
day when he would be playing at the Marshall Chess Club, plodding away for his master title when he was like 2,000 in rating. You know, before he moved to Italy, he moved to Italy just short of becoming 2,200, I think, in the United
yeah.
States. And he changed coaches and started working with Grandmaster Alexander Chernin, I think, who is
Mm.
living in Hungary. I'm not certain where he's living, but I think he's living in Hungary, and he comes to the US for camps that I've attended. So I've had a chance to have lunch with him. And at one point, he showed me the material because he also used the material for me and others in our classes. And he has little notes. So, what I tend to do with many of my books that are not unlike textbooks is that I will write the initials of the players, the students that I've worked on the materials with. So some of the books in this room will have penciled in MA for when I worked with Mark Arnold or other national champions that I've coached. And going through complete games is perhaps the number one way that you can improve your chess vision, because without having a memory of having seen a pattern in chess, a coordination of the pieces played by a better player, then it's very hard to come up with those coordinated movements on your own, except through practice. And that's a lot of mistakes that you have to make in order to actually, coordinate your
So
pieces the way you need to. Indeed, I was segging into
So
the
for
tip for
anyone
the
listening,
week
this is John's version of
because
his
I
tip for the
believe
week.
the author
John's chess improvement tip. You know,
the book How to Study Chess, uh, and he was in a recent podcast by Perpetual Chess host Ben Johnson, and he also noted that you you can't just come up with good plans on your own. It's often better to see what the wheel looks like rather than having to reinvent the wheel for yourself. If you actually see what the wheel looks like, then it's very easy to recreate the wheel in your own games, and soon you'll be rolling over all of your
yeah.
opponents, having studied the games of good players. I prefer to recommend World Champions games because they make far less errors than other masters in the choice of the right plan to move forward with. And that way you get to see chess from the opening, the transition into the middle game smoothly, and the transition into a winning endgame
Mm.
smoothly. One right after the other, like you're reading a good novel or watching a good film, or perhaps even an Oscar winning film, because you'll see the opening or the introduction of all the characters to the main plot where all of the obstacles and hurdles appear and you overcome them. And then hopefully you transition and segue into a very lovely and hopefully
Mm.
sunny and happy endgame.
Okay. Yes. So I have a question. I have a quick 5 minute segment question for you. It's a little left field. Now, there's good chess advice, and you're good at giving that. But what is some bad chess advice that you
What
see so
annoys me
often? Or
is
something. It's
seeing
almost like
people
a what
praising
annoys you
the
about
idea
what
of
annoys you
favoring
today. It's a
certain
little bit of
structures
catharsis.
all the time. So, for example, if someone plays the Khan and the Slav. And if you play the Khan and the Slav, that is c6 d5, and the Slav, which is
The London
c6
system or
d5
something.
with a
Yeah, yeah.
potential bishop f5 in either opening. Guess what you can play as white? You can also play the London as white with d4, c3, bishop f4, and stuff like that. And basically, yes, this is a quick road to results, but it's not a quick road to understanding when your opponents try to make the position a little bit more creative, as it turns out. I think Andrew,
Right. So you're saying
especially when
practice
you're
the light
young,
side of the force.
especially when you're
Use
young,
the light
if you
side,
were
the
told when you
holistic
went onto the
chess
playground that you were
approach,
only
the
allowed
more
to
well-rounded.
do certain
Yeah,
things
yeah.
on the playground and you were never allowed to experience the full playground experience and go on everything that was available, right? Oh no, you're only going to master the slide and and these monkey bars, and that's it. You're not going anywhere else in the playground. That's it. That's all you're going to experience in life, and you're going to go into adulthood with just these experiences. But instead, you have the social aspect of others and stuff like that that you have to navigate. You will follow them to other parts of the playground where you will experience other obstacle courses and running through the fountain and other things that will also make your life that much more enjoyable. And that flexibility, that experience, you'll catalog, every misfortune as well as every skinned knee that you were prevented from getting because you were only allowed to do certain things. Every skinned knee will contribute to your experience in a positive way, ultimately, because you will then inflict others with skinned knees as they're not familiar with the terrain that you force them upon. Yeah.
Right, right.
No, but in general,
So take the band-aid off,
I just
Rogan.
want you
Stop
to
playing the
enjoy
London. Okay,
chess.
that advice
Enjoy
right there,
the
and
fact that you are
I
able
feel
to
attacked, but I
experience
understand.
everything.
I
You're
understand.
not protecting a rating that is so low. When someone asks me my rating, I often say too low. That's my rating. It may begin with a two, but it's too low. And that's unfortunately true for everyone below as well. And they're trying to protect their rating
Yeah.
by playing for results rather than experience and experiences that can lead to growth and understanding. Playing for color complexes, playing for different color complexes, fianchettoing your bishop on occasion, uh, you know, going for the small center Sicilians with e6 and d6 on occasion, experiencing the occasional dragon Sicilian, stuff like that. Rather than staying with the same structure, you'll actually enjoy chess
Right.
a
That.
lot more, especially in your early years, if you're allowed to experience the full chessboard experience, which is literally a playground with which you're supposed to uh, absorb as much as you can. This also includes the fact that you have to analyze your own games, look at your mistakes, and try to catalog them a little bit better. Every time something goes wrong, it doesn't take but a few minutes to go back and say, hey, what happened there? How did that position transpire that I made a mistake in? Because it's usually not the position where you made the mistake. It's often the moves that lead up to that moment where you have a misconceived notion of what you're about to play, where it forces tunnel vision upon you and you don't look at other candidate moves in that position. You having the preconceived pawn structures, I see people making mistakes all the time because they play the move that they're supposed to
Yes.
play rather than opening their eyes to see what's actually going on and registering, hey, my opponent is up to this, so I can't play the normal natural move because it could lead to a natural disaster, and that's usually what they do. Because they're so comfortable with this structure, it almost stops you thinking, and you become a runaway train in many structures, and it limits your creativity.
Mm. Right. Okay, that makes incredible amounts of sense, John. Now, so is there anything, John, you wanna say to the audience before
Attention.
we walk off into the night and you
Yeah,
give your
I would
students
hope
the
that everyone
appropriate
practices every single
love they
day or
deserve?
sets aside the time to play a few games every single day. In fact, you don't really need to play more than a few games every single day. You should get a couple of whites and a black, or a couple of blacks and a white every single day, just to keep your thoughts on the game and your thoughts on the hurdles that you've experienced that particular day. Like, I still remember mistakes I made from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I am using them for material and lessons, as well as filing them away for myself as I play future games, and using those experiences to help me do better in my future games. So if everyone just plays a little bit every day, it's not unlike practicing a language. You can't go several days without practicing a foreign language sometimes to keep your fluency up. So stay fluent, everyone. Thank you, Rogan.
Yep. Yep, I'm a great
In
example of
any event,
this.
it's been a
I
lovely
can barely
podcast,
speak
Rogan.
English, and
Thank you
that's because I
for
practice every day.
making this experience possible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it was an experience, and I unfortunately did make it possible. Um, but yeah, it's great being here on the podcast. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Check out Master Chess Dojo on Twitch and YouTube, and then me and Kingsley Sloan on Twitch and YouTube. Possibly Kick soon in every other little platform
And good
that
night.
you'll ever, that exists. So you have a great day. God bless, and all that wonderful stuff.